Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Writing Life. I'm Stephen W. Long. I've said this more than once before, but I need to say it again. I am so impressed with the quantity of talent locally, and in this case, it has to do with writing, but we have artists of various kinds, sculptors and painters and so on. But I just feel so heartened that we have a community of writers here, and I get to talk to them. So my guest today is Michael Cooper, and I want to read his little bit of his bio here. So I hope we have enough time to actually have a conversation. Michael studied literature and theater at Oregon State and University of Oregon, as well as San Francisco State and Portland State Universities. He's written for numerous Northwest publications. He's the author of 4 novels, many plays, and his play Godot was adapted for film. Michael has taught writing and served on the Willamette Writers Board of Directors. And I have to say, I met you or was introduced to you by Kyle Dauterman, who is the director here. And I think this is accurate that you are both on the AAYC committee or board?
Board of Directors,
Board of Directors there as well. And I wanted to mention AAYC because they support this show and make it possible. I've had so much fun talking with you already.
Yeah.
But when we first met, you said that you've lived a kind of a vagabond life.
Yes.
Yeah, and can you talk about that? And that's going to really kick this off.
Well, probably it's just where I grew up and when is we moved at like certain junctures in my life, and I just kind of seemingly carried that on.
Okay.
And like you mentioned, the 4 universities.
Yeah,
And I seemingly have a problem with boredom. Is once you start knowing something, you get bored and like, okay, what's new? What's next?
What's new? Yeah.
Probably because I'm a Sagittarius, supposedly.
Okay.
Something to do with something like that.
Okay.
And so, yeah, just, new experiences and stuff like that. And also, in the history of writing is you go out and lived your life, and then at some juncture you settled down and then wrote about that. Mm-hmm. And so I may have taken that a bit too much to heart. And
well, that's actually going to be a topic later.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
But so, and I think I asked you this, but the moving was not military or.
No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't military. It was just me being me and
itchy feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing nefarious.
That you'll admit to.
Right. Exactly.
So one of your novels, 42. Mm-hmm. I just want to get this out of the way as well. Where did that come from? Where did the title come from?
Well, it comes from Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah. And the meaning of life and everything is 42. He asks a supercomputer, you know, that, and eventually spits out 42 for whatever reason.
I made the connection, but I didn't know. I haven't gotten far enough in the book to know if that's what you meant.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry, everybody. We'll have to delete that part.
Yeah.
And which Douglas Adams, I don't know how he came up with some of that stuff, but it's just...
Well, what's funny too is I did some research into why he chose that, and I guess he was at his writing desk and he looked out the back window and he said he couldn't come up with he wanted to stay away from anything profound because then philosophers and stuff had to start picking it apart, and he thought 42 was funny.
Yeah, but because it's so blasé.
Yeah. And what's funny now is everybody's saying 6'7", 6'7".
Right.
And like, 6 times 7 is 42.
Oh no, I hadn't got that far.
Yeah, and that's what's funny is, after writing this, you just look around and it becomes somewhat obsessive.
I had heard a similar story about that, and well, because you talked about philosophers or people delving into that, and people have.
Yeah.
And it's funny that it didn't mean anything.
Right.
And purposely, and yet we, the reader, we, the recipient of the work, bring ourselves to it and made something, or can make something out of all of this. you've written a lot, and I think probably in any art, but certainly in writing, you're influenced by somebody, or maybe we learn to do something initially by imitation. Who were your influences, or do you think that's even true?
I don't know if there were influences per se. I just read a lot,
Yeah.
and it was probably outside the norm. I did a lot of reading, like Aldous Huxley, Douglas Adams, of course,
Yeah.
Heinlein, and then some of the other science fiction, Robert Herbert,
Okay.
Dune, and things like that. So
Okay.
maybe just melding and moving around, and yeah, I don't know that I have a influence per
It's
se.
specific. I remember George Harrison was sued,
Mm-hmm.
and I think My Sweet Lord was the contention was that he copied that from He's So Fine,
Oh, okay.
and he was asked in court, "Have you ever heard that?" And he said, "Probably."
Yeah.
You know,
Right, yeah, you don't
these
know.
things are all around us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to kind of continue on something that we were on before, and that is AI.
Okay, yeah.
Do you have a general sense of that? Have you used it? Are we in trouble? Do they need us anymore?
Well, I think that's what's interesting is supposedly what's going to happen is we're going to have more time to ourselves,
Okay.
which is good and bad because everybody puts so much self-worth around their job. And so if that's taken away, then what are you? I mean, if you're just human, and I think you have more time to create and be introspective, which I think is a good thing because that's what I think writers do a lot of, because they have to empathize with other characters who
Sure.
may be outside their normal experience.
Sure.
But for a lot of people to be introspective and be critical of what life is about could be a little more than they want to delve, because you can just work your 9 to 5 and then not worry too much about what life is and the meaning of life. What's it mean to be human and alive and exist? Where if you keep your head down and you work so much, you don't have time to think about the bigger, greater issues.
That's interesting.
And I think also because the world at one time we were exploring it, and we're getting to a point where we've explored most of it. I mean, we still have the sea and all
Sure.
that stuff. But I think the exploration is then going to become more of an internal exploration of ourselves and what it just means to be alive and be human.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
interesting times.
Unless I misunderstood, I think you sort of alluded to that might be a scary journey.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to, just, write or whatever or work 9 to 5, like I said, and just work and accept how things are, rather than explore how things could be, or
Right.
we could get very esoteric very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't, of all of the potential criticisms of AI, I had never heard that one.
Yeah.
That,
Well, supposedly it's going to free us up, right? But then once you free, what do you do? If you have all the choices to make, and I think that's one of the interesting things is if somebody's telling you what to do and you accept that, that's one thing. But then if you have freedom to choose anything, how do you know what to choose?
yeah.
And then you get to the point where you're so worried about making the right decision, you don't make a decision, and even not making a decision is a decision. And
sure.
then, yeah.
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 I met a guy one time, he was a Brit and had been in the military, and which is anathema to me, but he loved it. And the reason he loved it, he says, I didn't have to think about anything.
Right, it's so structured.
They put the food in front of me. You always wear the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he loved that.
And that's what I liked about restaurants, because, you didn't have to worry about, okay, what am I going to wear today? It's like you have a uniform,
Okay.
and you just put it on, go did your job, and then left.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's great.
I, again, know a fellow who flew into a wedding and from quite a distance and arrived just before the ceremony, got off the plane, went to the wedding, and somebody commented on his outfit. And he said, I have an outfit for every occasion,
Yeah.
and this is it.
Yeah.
So, like the restaurant.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to AI a little bit. Your books obviously have an ISBN, and there is an ongoing class action lawsuit, and I can't remember. I don't think it's ChatGPT. Maybe it's OpenAI or something. That they have sourced. They go and get. I guess if it's online.
Yeah.
And download this stuff for what is it called, the large language model. And so there's a lawsuit because they're not authorized to do that. I mean, I didn't give them permission to do that.
Yeah. No, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah.
I should look into it.
You could be a little bit wealthier.
Oh.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be bad.
No, and I mean, seriously, it would be worth looking at.
Okay, I will.
And I'm not sure, I can't remember how you find out, but there's
Yeah.
a way to investigate if your work has been taken.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I'll look
that's
into
that. In 42, the book, the protagonist, I believe, puts up a photo of himself for inspiration.
Yeah.
Have I remembered that correctly?
Possibly. It's been so long since I've
Been a
read
while.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does reflect on the beginning of at the beginning of the story. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I've heard about people, they have a rock from the beach, or they have
A talisman of some sort.
something, and to remind them. And I wondered, did this come from maybe something that you have?
I actually have. Well, it was sort of inspired by a photograph that I
Okay,
have. Yeah.
okay.
And there are bits and pieces that are, I guess, historically autobiographical. But
Sure.
90% of the story's, fiction.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to find out which is which, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And what's always interesting is the main character has a daughter. I don't have a daughter, so people, initially like, "Where's your daughter?" Like,
Yeah.
I don't have a daughter. It's fiction, and that's what's always interesting to me is in writing. There's what's called the sophomore slump. I don't know if you've heard of this. Is like a debut author will have a great book,
Oh, okay.
and then the second one is always worse than the first one because a lot of authors will write from their life in the first one, and so they have a little more personal experience
Yeah.
and
Right.
that kind of thing. And then the second one's like, meh. But this is complete fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Larry McMurtry said, "My job is to make stuff up."
Yeah.
He didn't say stuff. He
Yeah.
he had another S word.
Oh, okay.
But and I've heard a criticism. Somebody was commenting on a novel that they'd read, and the criticism was, "It's like they're just making it up as they go along."
Oh, yeah. 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 There is something to be said for having an imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote in one of my, I guess in my second book, that it's about something that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
And so the investigation, the learning was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what helps these days with Google and stuff like that.
Oh, gosh.
Is you can choose like any character. Whether I think yours was a veterinarian, is that right, or something? Or am I thinking something else?
No, actually, I actually interviewed a vet.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't know. The second one takes place on a cattle ranch, of which I know nothing.
Yeah.
And so I interviewed a guy, and in fact, I made rounds with him, and I was given shots to the cows. And
Yeah. Well, you had hands-on, where Google, obviously it's completely different, but
Yeah.
you can be anybody and not limit yourself to necessarily what you know. And I think that's also one of the things that was at Hemingway or somebody that said, write what you know.
Yeah.
But at some juncture, you theoretically might run out of what you know, but at least,
Sure.
but then you can have characters that you don't know anything about and Google search it and then have characters that would normally not appear in your stories.
Sure.
That's, nope, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
no, I was going to say, one of my writing teachers said that you don't have to kill someone to write a murder mystery.
Okay.
And so when, I think relative to what you said, something that you haven't personally experienced, and let's say that you're trying to write about death, the death of a partner.
Yeah.
Well, maybe your partner didn't die. Maybe you don't have a partner.
Right.
But maybe you had a pet.
Okay.
What did you feel like when that kitty cat died? And so then you expand on those feelings and bring
Yeah.
that in. And I think there's a real similarity probably to acting.
Okay.
You know, where do those emotions come from? And you know, you're pretending that whatever. You know.
Yeah. Well, there's two philosophies of acting. There's the Meisner technique and, oh, I'm not going to remember it, where you actually become the character.
Yeah.
And then there's one where you're not, I don't know what they're called.
I've heard the term method acting. Is that
Yes,
is that
that's-
part of it?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm a playwright. I don't act, so.
Yeah, yeah,
Except in my personal life. Ha ha ha.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. And I have, as I get older, gained a greater appreciation for actors.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, this is embarrassing to say now, I thought it was probably really easy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, because somebody, you don't even come up with the words.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote that, and then you're pretending.
Yeah.
And I've pretended.
Mhm.
So, but
I think
yeah.
what's amazing is just her memory. As you look at Shakespeare or some of those, and like to remember all those lines, it's like how. And then also, I did take an acting class, and my problem is staying immediately in your character and doing the lines rather than looking out in the audience and speculating, oh, who's that or this or that, and my mind not being able to focus and be in the moment of the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different art form.
Yeah, so James Garner, I think I remember him saying, because some of those actors were also race car drivers.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was him.
Yeah.
And it may have been Paul Newman, and said that acting helped them drive. And the reason it did
Okay.
was because they had to memorize the course, and they were used to memorization.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, you'd have to be like corner 3, you'd be 50 miles an hour. You have to
Right.
be here and that
In
kind of
third
thing.
gear
Yeah,
and-
then- yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was great. Shift a little bit here. I've heard these terms, a plotter and a pantser.
Yes.
You know, okay.
Yeah.
So are you a plotter or a pantser?
Oh, I'm a pantser all the way.
Okay,
Yeah. And I don't know. You know, when I start, it's more of, I guess maybe a situation or a character. And like
Sure.
with Crushed, it was like, okay, I'm just going to pile on all this stuff on this one character and see how he can get out of it.
Sure.
And that's sort of what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully through the editing process is when you come back and then start cleaning the mess up.
But have something to clean up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You better have something to clean up otherwise.
Again, I was told, get your character up a tree and then throw rocks at him.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
that's what when you say pile on. And so, talk about your book. And I mean, this is a sort of all-encompassing. You're in or have been in the wine industry?
Yeah, but I just had a long history of, like I said, in restaurants and stuff, bartending,
Yeah.
and just being around wine people. I know a couple people that own vineyards here in the Willamette Valley, and so it's always sort of been in my history, I guess. And then my father tends to be a little competitive, and so one meal he poured some wine out and kind of gave it to both my brother and I, and he says, "Guess what this is?"
Uh-huh.
And that's sort of where this comes out of, at
Sure.
least the fight thing and stuff like that. And also nowadays is the blind tasting
Yeah.
of, you know, okay, you take a glass of wine that you don't know and then just going down, like we were talking about, the diagnostic profile of it, New World, Old World, and looking at the colors and stuff and just
Yeah.
breaking it down.
So that, I mean, the wine world is part of this. Am I right that this, because you just got the book.
Yeah.
I don't know, obviously you would know. It takes place in France?
Well, it initially takes place in France, in Paris,
Okay.
for the first, I'd say, major scene.
Okay,
And then something happens, and then he's back here in Oregon.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And that's where it finishes up.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
80%, 90% of the story's here in Oregon,
Okay,
McMinnville.
but you lived in France.
I did, yeah,
Yeah.
5.5 years.
I'm sorry?
5.5 years?
So substantial.
Yeah, it was right before COVID. And yeah, we spent COVID in France, which was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you were there, was there any wine tie-in, or is it just coincidental?
No, well, we picked a specific spot, the Lot region of there, because it's sort of an unknown region in regards to wine, and it's between just sort of east of Bordeaux
Okay.
and quiet, small little village. We were going to do some things around the wine industry. I was going to be in it. She was going to do some knitting and stitching and stuff.
Yeah.
COVID hit, and it kind of threw a curveball.
Yeah, so
To a lot of people.
just to pursue that a bit, did you, I mean, it almost sounds like it could be beneficial in the sense
Yeah.
that, well, we're here and we kind of need to be here.
Yeah.
But maybe it also limited your activity.
Yeah, it definitely limited our activity. I was riding the bike at the time. I used to race bikes,
Right.
bikes, not motorcycles. But
Right.
they wouldn't let us. couldn't even get on the bike, so we were very locked. I mean, it was lockdown, and so that's
Yeah.
when I started writing and stuff. And I think I've got probably 3 or 4 other novels under my belt, like very ugly, rough drafts.
Okay.
So those need to be edited and stuff, and eventually they'll come out.
Well, gosh, there's so many elements to what you've said. Again, a teacher told us the problem with many folks is they want to have written.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to write because writing's hard,
Yeah.
but they want the whatever comes after that, the
Mhm.
accolades or the, whatever you think is going to happen
Yeah.
when you have written.
Yeah.
But you write.
Yeah.
And the one, I think, 42,
Mm-hmm.
it seems to me that it approaches 100,000 words.
Yeah. Probably
And
right around there.
And I don't, but anyway, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
That takes some discipline.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, I mean, are you writing now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your schedule?
Well, once again, I find that I work best if I have work,
Okay.
and then it forces me, like, right now I'm getting up at 5. I have to be someplace at 7, so I wake up at 5,
Yeah.
coffee, write for an hour, hour and a half, go to work, come back.
Okay.
And then at night, pretty much from about 6 to 9, I write.
Mm-hmm.
Mornings tend to be editing, nights writing on the next thing.
Right.
And once again, like you say, it's discipline. Is everybody wants to, you get a story in your head, that's one thing, but then you have to sit down and actually do the writing.
Right.
And then it's like, well, I've got to do all this writing, and like you say, 96,000 words, let's say you're doing 3,000 a day, which is a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but that's, what, you do the math, and that's
Yeah,
a
right.
month straight of 3,000 words. It's like, okay, well, you're not going to do that, so you're probably looking at, I don't know, 6 months to a year to
Oh,
do
for
that
sure.
first draft. And that you've got to be disciplined. Then why are you doing your writing instead of maybe going out with friends for a beer and a pizza, going
Right.
to the football game,
Right.
getting up at a different time? You've just got to,
Yeah.
if you want to write, you got to
gotta
be
write.
disciplined.
Yeah. Stephen King said his writing goal is 2,000 words a day.
Mhm.
And for me, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I would do maybe, it's an average, but 1,000 or
Yeah.
1,200 or something. But he also said writing badly is far superior to writing not at all.
Yeah.
And that's kind of,
And that's what it is when you get in that rhythm and routine,
yeah.
is because I sort of treat it like I did some sports growing up, and so I'm kind of familiar with Pavlovian conditioning in those regards.
Sure.
I have sort of a uniform, or wear the same outfit.
Oh, really?
Listen to the same music.
And so that's kind of your talisman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think what happens is writer's block is not paying attention to those smaller details.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't feel right because maybe you're in a different shirt, listening to something different. I
Right.
don't know how other people work, but
Right.
for me, if I don't feel like writing, but I'm listening to the same music, wearing the same thing, I sit down like, God, I don't feel like writing, and then, tap a couple words, and then after 5, 10, 15 minutes, you're back in the groove.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We sort of touched on this, but for me, I felt like to write something. Write something
Yeah.
so that you have something to fix. Trying to think of the playwright, Neil Simon, said writing is rewriting.
yeah,
But you have to have something to rewrite.
yeah.
You got to,
And then you get so worried about writing the right thing, something that, even though
can't-
it sounds like what was the word that he didn't use instead of, anyway.
Oh, it's Cyrillic. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
yeah, is write something and not worry about it and just come back and
Yeah.
get it. Yeah.
I've met a fellow very nice, T. Jefferson Parker, and
I'm reading one of his books right now.
are you really?
Yeah.
He and my teacher Elizabeth George were in a group together,
Yeah.
and that's how I met him.
Yeah.
But anyway, initially he was a reporter for I think the Orange County Register,
Okay.
and wrote a novel, his first novel, kind of on the side, after work. And his MO was he would just talk about a pantser. He would just sit down and write. He'd just start at whatever the beginning was and get to the end.
Yeah.
And then he'd look at it and then he knew what to fix. But there was no plotting or anything.
Yeah.
Let me tell a quick story because we're just about out of time, but I think this is great. Jeff wrote a novel, and it was reviewed by a guy that I know at the Orange County Register, and he wasn't very complimentary. And the other fellow's name was Richard Cheverton. And Jeff read the review, and which was not complimentary. And in Jeff's next book, which are all murder mysteries, there was a scene where the protagonist goes to the Richard Cheverton sewage treatment plant and goes up to the desk and says, I'm investigating this crime, and can I speak to Mr. Cheverton? And the secretary is distraught, and she says, oh, there's been a terrible accident. Mr. Cheverton fell into a vat of sewage and drowned.
Sweet, sweet revenge.
And it never came up in the book again. It was completely meaningless, except that was Jeff's revenge for the bad review.
That's funny.
And so Richard Cheverton said, I'm through being a critic. This is not for me.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
Funny.
Something else I want to touch on, kind of come at this a little bit differently. I sat in on a talk, a reading by Garth Stein,
Okay.
and he wrote The Art of Racing in the Rain.
Yes.
And after the thing, he asked for questions, and a young lady said, what advice do you have for somebody starting out who wants to be an author? And to the best of my recollection, it was something like, get a job on a tramp steamer and sail to the South Pacific and blah, 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 all that stuff. And what he meant by that was, hey, experience life. And I come back to your book, this is what you've done.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just congratulations
thank you
for doing that.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, if you had to give somebody advice, what would you say?
Probably that.
Probably the same?
Yeah.
Have something to write about.
Well, the problem these days, if you do go to school, right, it's so expensive. You take out a loan, then you get your degree, then you get out of school, then you have to get a job to make and pay for that. But then you don't have time to write. And then to become a better writer, you have to write.
Yeah.
And I can remember when I used to be on a small journal, and you'd get these people writing to you, and they'd want you to, I'm suddenly becoming very incoherent.
Good.
Yeah. But they'd say they'd spent their entire lives being a medical professor, a doctor, and now they're chasing their real dream was to be a writer. And it's like, well, it's too late now because your mind is already thinking like a doctor rather than a writer.
Yeah.
And I'd say just write.
Just right. Well,
right.
Again, an anecdote from my experience. I was privileged to be with Elizabeth George, and it was a very small, intimate group, and we had an applicant, and she came in and she was a lawyer, and she was, obviously bright and everything, and same thing, she wants to be a writer. And there's a vetting process to join the group, and we ask her all kinds of questions, and one of the last questions was, how often do you write? How much do you write?
Yeah.
And her answer was, I don't have time to write. Well, she didn't make the grade, because you have to do, as you said, you have to You have to sit down and write.
Sit down and write.
And I'll end with this. Elizabeth said, one of the elements that a writer needs is bum glue. And she says bum
Oh.
because it's British.
Yeah.
But in other words, you have to commit yourself. You have to
Have
do
to
it.
sit in the seat and punch the keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So true.
This is a quick half hour.
It was very quick.
Yeah,
Too quick.
We could go on and maybe we can do it again.
Absolutely. I'd love
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
Wow. This is why I have so much fun, guys. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. This
And
is great.
oh my goodness, we'll just have to do it again. So I'll see you next time on The Writing Life. Bye-bye. Thank you, Michael.
No, thank you. That was
Oh
fun.
my gosh.
And you're so natural in here, and I can, in the back of my head is like.